What's up guys, I'm Melanie Morrison, personal trainer and nutritionist, and today's video is about feet. Not the creepy way, but more the fitness professional way. And why I thought this video was important to make is because learning how to utilize your feet in movement can really change not only your workouts, but your everyday daily routine. It definitely made a difference for me in all of my movement and even the way that I train my clients. So what's the deal with feet and why is this so important with movement? It's because there are proprioceptors on the bottom of your feet that sense to feel what muscles should be engaged. Not only with your feet, but also they send signals through your feet up to the rest of your body to know what we're supposed to be activating.
Cool.
And when the feet are able to get the correct message and send it to the rest of your body, they can be more accurate with what muscles need to be engaged, which will ultimately help your stability and efficiency with movement. So you definitely want to get that message signaling going because it will not only help your movement but also reduce injuries. And if you're someone who supinates or pronates your feet, this is a perfect video for you because more often than not, it can be something that's easily corrected just by using your feet. So one example I like to give a lot with clients is if you're walking on a beam and you don't step dead center on the beam, you're going to feel your body sway one way or the other. And by doing that, you're going to lose that stability in through your ankle and your knee and your hip, throwing off your muscles and throwing off your joints, which will really create a lot of injuries and issues down the road. So the same rules apply if you are supinating or pronating your feet. If you are using one side more than the other side may just be inactive, which will ultimately create inactive muscles in through your leg and your hip and possibly even your lower back, which on the flip side of that will create more of a burnout on the other side that you're using too often. So that's why it's important to be able to activate all the muscles in your feet to be able to make your movement more well-rounded. And on top of that, those muscles are reflective stabilizers. So stabilizing muscles like your glutes, your psoas, your abdominals, your hip flexors, these are all muscles that are directly stabilized and active from your feet. So if everyone wants that six-pack or that big booty, let's start strengthening that big toe. So enough of the what, let's get to the how. How can we improve the movement in your feet? So the surface that your feet are on can really depict whether or not they pick up a lot of information or they don't. The firmer the surface, the more information that your feet will be able to gather. So by creating that tension or stiffness in your feet, by impacting that hard surface, you're gonna be able to generate more force with your muscles, and on top of that, you're gonna be able to have more control with your joints. So obviously we're all not gonna be walking around in our bare feet outside, so before we get to the exercises, let's talk about shoes. So something like this is a very minimalist shoe. It has a lot of toe space for your feet to be able to expand as much as they need to. It has a very shallow or thin sole, and it's very, very light. So something like this is ideal to be able to utilize all the muscles in your feet and create more strength. So this shoe is more of a mid-range shoe where it does have a little bit of a thicker sole, but there is still a lot of toe space, and it is pretty flexible still. So this type of shoe would be perfect for if you're doing a lot of cardio or running outside. So your feet are still protected, but you're still getting a lot of movement and use out of your feet. So this kind of shoe is more of an extreme shoe that you would want to avoid if you are trying to gain a lot of strength in your feet, because it's not very flexible, can't even bend it, and there's not as much toe space as the other shoes that I already mentioned, and there's a very, very thick sole. So that doesn't really give your feet much opportunity to read the ground or get that information that we talked about at the beginning. So if you wanted to put this theory to test, you can stack a bunch of pillows and stand on it on one foot, and you'll feel how unstable your foot and your ankle can really be versus just standing on the hard surface floor on one foot and just seeing how much more stable your muscles and your joints are. So I'm going to walk you through 3 exercises that you can do on your own at home that will really help to strengthen your feet and make them more well-rounded. So what you're going to do in this first exercise is alternating moving your toes, and what I mean by that is you're going to press down all of your toes except your big toe, and you'll lift your big toe, and you'll switch and you'll press down your big toe and lift the rest of your toes, and you'll just keep alternating, going back and forth, trying to control as much as you can and really pressing and spreading those toes when they're grounded and then lifting them nice and high when they're not. So for this next exercise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you for my feet or my lower half. Are you going to do it too? So I'll show you with my feet and my lower half so you have a better picture of what I'm doing, but it's similar to a backwards lunge, but you're taking more of a shallow step. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a shallow step behind, activating your big toe in the front. So really grounding your big toe, pressing it into the floor, and then you're going to come up, bring your knee up to hip height, and Again, keeping that big toe that's fixed on the floor, grounded as much as you can, and stabilizing your foot. So for this last exercise, all you're gonna need is a ball, either a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, which is now taken from me. And you're gonna have that in between your feet, and I'll show you what you'll do. So you're gonna place the ball in between your heels at the back, and the ball should be touching the floor. And then you're going to have your hand on a wall or some kind of supported surface, and you're going to press your big toes into the floor as much as you can, spreading all of your toes and lifting your heel as high as you can. And you're just gonna repeat that, pressing those big toes into the floor, pressing your heels into the ball. And you'll repeat that about 10 times. Each exercise you can do about 10 times. The first two 10 times each side. Do it once or twice a day. So just to show you the difference between supinated and pronated, I'll show you with my doorbell client of what the difference looks like in your feet. So if you are more pronated, you're gonna be more flat-footed like Quinn, where the arches of your feet will cave in and they'll be touching the floor, or if not, close to. If you are more supinated, the arches of your feet will lift up and you'll be turning outwards. Most likely your shoes will be worn down on the edge through here, and that's a good indication that you are more supinated, and that can really affect your joints through the back, because you'll notice that they won't actually line up. Quinn's obviously a child, so it may not show as much as her, but you'll notice if you are more pronated, your ankles will be closer to the ground, and you'll notice that your ankles won't really line up with your knees as much. There won't be a direct line to the knee. And the same thing will apply when you are supinated and it's caving outwards, which is hard to show with you because you have perfect little feet. So that might be something to look into. And if you are more flat-footed, you have to do a lot more big toe work. So that will be just strengthening that big toe with a lot of the movements that we already did today. Are you flat-footed? Like Daddy? Okay, play with the cars. So there you have it. I hope you found those movements and information helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can reach out to me at Hungry Elephant on Instagram. Please like and subscribe if you want more content. And again, my name is Melanie Morrison.